Hello, everyone. And today in our podcast, by the way, we are tuning in from Dallas this time, and I have a very special guest all the way from Philippines. Last time I met with Marjorie in Dubai, and I'm really fortunate enough to meet Marjorie here again in Dallas. And I'm so super pumped to have you here on my podcast again. And I would like to hear more about how you started. First of all, Marjorie running a huge company in Philippines. She's empowering other businesses. Well, Marjorie, you'll tell better what you do, but I would like to highlight that what you did is very incredible.
Thank you.
Marjorie speak on international stage. Her company helping so many other business owners to grow in scale. And I would like to hear more about what you do.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here, Vera. It's been an honor and pleasure to sit beside you, such a famous entrepreneur. I've seen some of your billboards. So, but yeah, so my name is Marjorie Avizo from the Philippines. I'm the CEO and founder of Telework PH. And yes, we do a lot about not just providing opportunities in the Philippines. You know how it is living in the third world country, right? So there's not a lot of opportunities in there just because not people get to afford education. And it has been my mission to not just provide opportunities but actually connect them with clients overseas, just because it then breaks that barrier, and then that belief in our culture that Filipinos cannot do something that's world class. And now I realize as a grown entrepreneur that your mission expands beyond just making money, right? I was a young mom at the age of 19, and life has forced me to do something about it because I didn't want to. I would love, I'm okay doing average, but I realized that being far from my kids, because I was working, in Metro Manila, that's around 2 hours back and forth where I live. And traffic in Manila is crazy. And, I don't get to spend so much time with my kid. And it started with that very, very humble, pursuit to just be a parent, to be a good mom, being able to provide for my kid, and as well as, being there for the milestones. But because I had to work far from him, I had to do something about it. And when the opportunity arises to work from home, that's when I started freelancing, becoming a virtual assistant, a copywriter. I've worn so many hats, and that's where I honed my skills, my talents in client acquisition, working with multinational companies. And that's when I realized I could probably do the same thing with all the women or all the moms where I live. So they don't have to travel 2 hours back and forth Metro Manila to also provide for their kids. Um, it's funny at the time. My then partner, he was still he's not one of those that was fortunate enough to provide for the family, and so I had to stand up for that, and to take the role of being a father as well. And I sincerely believe there are lots of single moms out there who's
Yes, of course.
also sharing the same boat. Like sometimes they question themselves about how do I provide for my kid, and as well as how do I become, be there for my kid and witness all the milestones. And I realized that women do not have to be limited. You can do both. You don't have to choose between career and family. And so I was fortunate enough to find that opportunity to work from home and as well as provide for my kid. So now that I was able to do that, I told myself maybe this is something that I can also share with other moms. I taught people. We call in our place, it's called barangay. So it's like a local, like a small town where I would gather women, I would gather people and train them on how to do, digital marketing, copywriting, virtual assistants. And it's funny because some people would be like, "Oh, is that scam? Is
Okay,
that
so
unreal?"
how did you started that?
Hmm.
Like when you had this idea that you can actually help other women, how did you start? Like how many people first showed up
Hmm.
to your workshops or whatever you were organizing?
Yeah, it was just three people in the room. So, and I was happy with that. I mean, I just wanted to be able to teach people. And it's funny because now we think about, oh, I'm going to do a Zoom workshop and nobody shows up. We so think about the tiny things that's actually, irrelevant, because at the end of the day, if it impacts one person, that's what's most important, right? You change one person's life at a time. And so during that time, I was happy with three people in the room, and that three people grew to 7 to 15 to 20. And, it became more and more, and then these people get to be employed. So what happened after that was I was speaking to this client, that was employing the entire team. And unfortunately, this client said, either we were hearing lots of background noises. Like in the Philippines, you can imagine the home office is right beside the kitchen, right beside the living room. So anyone who passes by causes some noise, or you can hear the motorcycle, you can hear everything in the call.
Yeah.
And so the customers are like, I'm hearing background noises, I'm hearing chicken, I'm hearing, are you guys in the office? And we had to disclose, we're not allowed to disclose that we're in the Philippines, but we can say, oh, you're probably hearing something else, or you're probably
Oh, I
hearing.
didn't know. That is really interesting because we also have some staff who works from Philippines, and also we had some situations in the past where like was a rain or there was some chickens or
Yes,
something in the
exactly.
background. So
That's
I
exactly
didn't
what's
know.
happening.
Obviously, I am okay with that, but
Hmm.
if you work, I assume for another company, that's where you can't show it.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I
Yes, the
didn't know that.
customers are complaining about it. So they were thinking, if they dial, you know how it is with call centers, right? So when they dial a certain phone number, they're thinking they're calling someone in the US. And that's not what's happening, because the call is being routed to the Philippines. And when they do hear a background noise, or a rooster, they would be like, "Oh, are you somewhere in the farm or what?" So we had to do something about it. And so what happened was, the client said, well, we cannot do that. It's either you all lose your jobs or you all work in an office. So that was the turning point in my life, because I was like, I don't have the money to actually put up an office. And number two, I don't have the entrepreneurial experience. So it was like a very, you know how it is when we just take that leap of faith,
I
that we,
think that's what push you, like you push the limits, and I think that's that's where the growth usually happens, right?
That's exactly it. I think you can resonate with that. Like, there's a moment in your life where you really had to make that decision. I can resonate with what Nick Santo Nastaso mentioned earlier,
Yes.
that you just needed to make that one decision in your life that would change everything. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't have the background, I didn't have the means, I didn't, but I just know, and I just have that faith to like
To make it work.
to make it
So
work.
what happened then? Did you find money to rent the office?
So what happened was, I talked to my husband, and I said, my new partner, so my husband now, um, I said, it's either we spend all the money we had in the savings, and probably raise funds, but I know that we have to do something about it. We start small, and so we rented this coffee shop.
And did he agree?
He did,
Okay, that's the most
fortunately.
important part, that when your family is supporting you and not telling you, oh, you're crazy, we're
I
not doing
love,
that.
yes, exactly. So yeah, it's funny because you know how it is when we are looking for support systems in this pursuit, or in entrepreneurship. And I'm very grateful that I get to meet my husband now. He's been very, very good support system for me. So yeah, he did. He said yes to it, and we took all the money that we have and just rented a small coffee shop in Manila. And we we had people bring in some of their personal laptops with them, so everything was like bring your own device. We didn't have anything like, you know how it is in the corporate world where you get to have a very good chair. No, we don't have those. We have just mono blocks, you know, plastic chairs. And the people that were working inside were like, are we gonna improve this or what? It's like, you know, it's not real. It's not a real office to begin with. So yeah, that's what happened. And lo and behold, that story was like from then on became history, because I now had to, it's like saying, well, sure, we can all lose our jobs, but I wanted to continue providing for these people, because one of my team members said, Marge, I couldn't afford to lose my job. And it hit me because now,
Yeah, you have someone who depend from you, right?
exactly.
And how many employees you have right now in your company?
So we have 1,700 people in 7 years. That's
Oh my
how fast
God,
we grow.
1,700. That's a lot.
1,700 emotions as well.
Oh my goodness. How do you even manage them? That's another challenge, I must say, right?
That's right. And in a scaling company, for sure, that's another challenge, because then you'll have to have, you know, managers, frontliners to actually field for those issues before they get to you. And sometimes as a hands-on CEO, I'd be like, oh, what's your problem? Let me solve that for you. But also there are compliances in every stage, like, well, we don't do this because that's our policy. But sometimes you get to bend those just because you feel for that person. So it's where the managers in my team would be like, oh, Marge, you just go away. Don't be in this, because we, you know, you're taking away the power from us. And I believe when you empower your managers to be like you and to also adapt the culture, that's where you multiply, leverage yourself.
Wow, that's really awesome. Unbelievable. What a fascinating story.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit more. I would like our listeners to understand a little bit more how you actually help business owners. So all your stuff, what you guys doing?
Sure. So we would like to call ourselves an outsourcing company in the Philippines. Back in the days, they call us call centers, but we have expanded our services beside, you know, just calling or taking customer inquiry, customer service, sales. Now we have expanded to automation, AI, and v- with the help of high level as well, we are able to help our customers to actually build a business that's profitable for them and be efficient in delivering so we do virtual assistants as well. We have full-time dedicated, we also do part-time, but essentially these are dedicated people as opposed to like hiring a freelancer who's working with multiple clients. So that's how we differentiate. And apart from that, a lot of the business owners or the clients that we've worked with do not have the know-how on how to like look for the right hire. And in every business, I think that's how you scale, right?
Yes,
You hire
exactly.
your first employee, you hire your first assistant, and some of us would be playing it by the ear and like, okay, we click, then let's go, let's move forward. But what they fail to realize that is that the cost of hiring is actually very, very expensive.
Yes, that's right. Especially here in the US, I work with so many business owners and small to medium-sized businesses. Sometimes they cannot afford someone based in US. And of course, even us, we have team like worldwide in different countries, and we have some team members in Philippines as well, and very hardworking people.
Thank you.
I am so thankful to have them in my team, because like there's some like we won't be able to do it all by ourselves. So it's really we would also, for those who listen to us today, we will leave a link below.
Absolutely.
If you're business owners and you're watching us and you need to hire someone reliable from Philippines, you have full support here from HP Network, right? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Telework
Telework, yeah.
PH, yes.
So any technical work phone call center
Mm-hmm.
and all type of automations, right?
Correct. That's right. So I'm just so glad that whenever they hear about the Philippines, they think about hardworking, loyal people. And it's funny because everybody was like, "Oh, you're a Filipino. You probably have a relative who's working as a nurse here in the U.S. Like every nurse that you see is a Filipino." So I feel like that is the that's always been the competitive advantage, and the customer experience that we provide to our clients has been like they always say there's so much value in you having you guys, because you are becoming familiar with our customers. There's long-term relationship, and I feel like we don't want to be in the age of AI. We don't want to be transactional. We want to always be relational. So the kind of relationship we invest into with our clients is
Yes,
what
that's
makes us
right.
stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also try to build relationship with our clients, and I think that's why we have some clients who stay with us since 2018 till now,
Wow.
just because of
Hmm.
the relationship. Yeah,
Love
just
it.
and in fact, right after this call, I'm gonna run and meet one of my clients from US. So I think it's really powerful.
Hmm.
Um, for anyone who is like hesitating, who really believe in something is gonna work but hesitating or don't have the money, what your advice would be, and where you would advise to start from, like when you have no money and you don't have anything, what would be like the first steps?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really tough question, because I sincerely believe that if that is the situation, it's really all about how do you break that mindset of like, I'm limited. We want to be able to, as entrepreneurs, we have to be creative in how we are able to solve problems. So if you feel like that is your physical limitation, then I always believe about talking to people to come up with a partnership that works for both parties. So even if it's not a monetary, it's not, I'm not able to pay you very like right now, but I can provide this and that, or like I provide service for you, in return you give me testimonials. So is we can be creative in a sense, like if you are unable to pay for our service for now, then sure, we can set up on like a case study, or like we can help you get that first sale, and in return you get us a testimonial or refer us to your future clients, or you can become an affiliate. So there's so many creative things that we can work on together and collaborate on to get you started, because at the end of the day we want you to be successful.
And also, I have another question for you. The most difficult part for anyone who just starting business is the client acquisition.
Yes, for sure.
And you based in Philippines, your clients are based in the United States. How do you actually find your first client?
Wow, it's to be honest with you, that's a very challenging situation. The way I was able to get my first client is I attended an event. So this
Mhm.
is running remote back in 2018. It's called Running Remote, and it was held in Bali, Indonesia. So I got to meet startups, entrepreneurs, who are staying in Bali and who are actually flying into Bali just to have a vacation. Fortunately enough, I stumbled upon a client who is into AI. It's actually scale AI. So they are, I think
Back
it's
in 2018, right? When it
Siri.
wasn't
Yes,
so advanced like it is now.
exactly. It's crazy how, I'm like, oh, back in 2018, I'm like, oh, AI is too far. But like now it's becoming it's
Yeah.
the present. Everything is happening so fast. So yeah, Scale AI, they're actually Series E now in their funding. So it's a very big company, and by Alex Wang, by the way. So we were among those who were very into the data labeling, data annotation, so their models become even better. So and then from then on, I said, okay, I must be where my customers are. And I think a lot of our clients, or a lot of the business owners, would think, so where do I start? But you realize you have to be where your customers are. If you need to pay to be there on the table, if you have to pay for VIP because you wanted to sit beside that ideal client, then by all means do it, because that first step that you would do matters so much in as far as getting that first sale. That's the momentum you need.
Yeah, I also believe that you have to surround around like-minded people, or
There you go.
people who, yeah, could be your future customers. And
Mm-hmm.
every time we go for this type of events,
Mm-hmm.
I always buy VIP ticket, and there were some people who were like skeptical, like, oh, I don't want to pay VIP just because of the food. And I feel like these people have a different mindset
Yeah,
because it's not really about the food. It's about
exactly.
the people who you meet. It's really
Exactly.
powerful, isn't it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Um, Personally, what, like, could you recommend any resources where to start learning? Like maybe your company even providing some free resources, or what would you recommend to learn for someone who either want to work for you or want to start something similar as
Mm-hmm.
you are?
Yeah. YouTube is the best way to go. I've always been a fan of free resources, but these days it's not just free resources, they're actually value packed resources. And reaching out to authors or influencers or content creators like that you can follow to learn more about the services, I think that is also very helpful. Coursera, LinkedIn, there's so much resources on the internet right now. And as far as AI, I would definitely go to those people who are actually implementing it, like Molly Mahoney. Who else? Of
Yeah,
course, the
there's so
GHL team.
many.
There's just so many people, so you gotta be in that community. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. I'm so happy to meet you again. I am more than sure we are meeting again,
Yes,
and
for
maybe
sure.
one day we'll meet in Philippines. Who knows? If
Yeah.
there'll be another event in Philippines, I would be really interested to attend.
Definitely, yes. We'd
And
love to have you there. We're having an event on February 2026, so that's next year. And of course, Nick will be coming with us with there, and as well as people from HL Pro Tools, everybody in the GHL community. So we'd love to have you there, Vera. I think this it's the first time you're coming to the Philippines, right?
well, I just heard it, right? So maybe, yeah.
Yes, perfect. That's perfect. Yes, so would
Oh,
love
I
to
just
house
got
you.
invitation to Philippines. Oh, wow. I actually never been in Philippines. It was on my to-do list. And
Uh-huh.
you know what's interesting? Because I spend so much time in Dubai, and we have like people from Philippines
Oh
all over the
yeah.
place. And in our office, we have like multinational like culture, lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I was always amazed about Philippines? Am I saying Filipinas, right?
Yes.
That no matter how hard your life are, you
Mm-hmm.
always guys so happy. Like there were some guys in the office, I know their situations like really tough. They could have living like in a tiny room, sharing with some, like just to survive, because in Dubai rental is expensive. And they would be so happy
Mm-hmm.
and always singing and smiling, And I'm sometimes thinking, and lots of people, including me, sometimes we have these negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at other people and you think, oh my God, like this guy or this girl, they're like living in one tiny apartment, sharing with like 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
Their life was really hard. They're working hard so they could send some money back home, and they're still happy. They're still happy. They're party. They're singing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like this is really like really awesome culture. I think it's
Uh-huh.
cultural thing, right?
It
To
is.
be happy no matter what. I think it's really very powerful.
It is. It is. And I think growing up, our parents and even, our ancestors have taught us about resilience and being positive about life in general, because living in a third world country is really really tough, but the best thing that we can do is to like Nick Santor Nastaso mentioned about changing what's inside of your head.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you so much.
thank
I am
you.
seeing you in
Yeah,
Philippines.
for sure, definitely. Well, thank you so much to
Next
all the
episode,
viewers.
guys, from Philippines. Stay tuned.
Yes.